Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Tuesday Newsday. I'm Alternis. I'm the Community and Marketing Director for Catalyst Game Labs, and I'm here today with the legendary Bryn Leviathans line developer. How are you, Bryn?
I'm doing good, thank you. I mean, I don't know if I've ever been called legendary before, so that was exciting.
I figure you gotta catch up to Dad someday.
Yeah, that's highly unlikely, but I'll take it.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to chat with you. I'm going to chat at you a little bit, but feel free to kibitz along the way as we go through a little bit of news before we get into our Leviathans talk today. So really big announcement for today. This is something that we've been working toward since I started. Is it? Is it? Okay, good. I'm just checking, make sure everything is working. Um, so since I started, one of the things that Lauren talked to me about was he wanted more community spaces that were like Catalyst official community spaces. And so one of the things he requested was a community Discord. And we've been spending the past several months prepping and starting to slow roll out the Catalyst community Discord to various groups for feedback and testing. And it's finally here, guys. Right now, on the show, we are publicly launching the new Catalyst community Discord server. So Shock is going to drop that in chat for us, and you're all welcome to join. It is now public. You can share it. I can finally say share it everywhere instead of please don't share it. We only want so much feedback. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone that has been supporting us through this and helping to provide feedback. And the moderator team is phenomenal. So come play with us. If you do have feedback on channels you'd like to see, we're going to still be open to taking that and seeing what works. We kind of started small. We didn't want too much channel bloat. And then we're going to grow as people ask for stuff. So welcome to the community, guys. Yay! I feel bad for all my moderators right now. I'm going to get the ping any second from Discord saying there's unusual join activity in the Discord channel. So but welcome to the community. Are you in the community, Bryn?
I don't think I am, no, but I've been sick the last like week, so
Yeah, I invited you like 2 months ago. It's fine.
I don't, maybe that's probably true. I, oh.
You might be in there and just not be paying attention to it, but we'll make sure you get in there too. You'll have all the Catalyst people, you'll have freelancers, you'll have demo team agents, you'll have contributors. Camo Specs is in there, Lynn Vander Studios is in there, Big Red is in there. Tex made an appearance. That was pretty exciting. So come hang out in the official Catalyst server. So you can also choose your roles. So if you don't want to see Shadowrun stuff, you can click Battletech and Leviathans and board games and not click on the Shadowrun role, and then you won't see any of those channels. So you can cater it to what you want to see. Um, Other marketing and community news. I feel like there's some mystery about what some of my job is and stuff. So talk about a couple of our plans that are upcoming. Um, I've talked to both the BattleTech Reddit and the Shadowrun Reddit. I just had a meeting with one of the moderators yesterday from the Shadowrun Reddit asking, train of thought, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. So back in June, um, one of the requests with the transition to the Reddit space was um, the community was asking for more interaction from Catalyst. Um, and we've had a lot to do since then. Since then, with rolling out the Discord community guidelines, getting everything else that we've been trying to get done, but we're finally ready to pay some attention. So, what this means, we're not going to be reacting all the time to posts and butting into everything, but we are going to be doing some announcement posts. So, if we have, we might do a monthly. This is what's coming for this month for BattleTech, or where you can find us, or what demo team events are going on. And then we will also be doing at least once a quarter an AMA. So we might bring for BattleTech, we might bring in some of the developers or the freelancers. We might bring in same for Shadowrun, but there will be a little bit more interaction that we're starting to plan to roll out here soon for Reddit. So you'll be able to see that coming up. The forums, I know we've had some difficulties with the forums going up and down lately. There is some kind of, from what I've been told, because I am not a decker. But from what I've been told, there is some kind of web extension or upgrade or update or something that broke part of the forums, and so it's being investigated to see what's going on and how to fix it. So stay tuned. We'll try to get that fixed as soon as possible. And lastly, we had talked about when we rolled out the community guidelines, we had talked about an appeals process. So we're ready for that. So that you guys kind of know what's the process is going to be here. So I've got a moderator team on the different social media platforms that do the moderation for me. And sometimes we can be a little heavy-handed and mistakes are made. You are welcome to appeal if you've been banned or kicked, or like sometimes you might even just be given a warning or something like that. Anything you want to talk about or report, you're welcome to. And since I'm not the one moderating the pages themselves, you can actually email me, and I'll look at your request with some of the other moderators, excluding the one that made the original call. So that way we'll be able to get some fresh eyes on that and yeah, play with welcome you back into the community if a mistake was made. So gosh, okay, I am all over the place. I am on a laptop today, guys, instead of my 3 screens that I have at home. So I have to click back and forth between a bunch of different spaces and I'm a little scatterbrained because of it.
Dropping from anywhere max to like lower screen numbers is so much effort.
Yeah, it's
Never used
really
to it.
hard. I I
Yeah.
I need to find like a good tablet or something that I can travel with and have in my spaces, but um all right, I've got one announcement in terms of the lines. We did a lot last week in terms of covering what is coming from each of the lines, so I don't want to spend too much time um diving into stuff that I shared already last week. So I'm really going to try to focus on if there's a new release coming within the next week or so until we have the next episode. Um, I'll give you guys the update, and I believe it's tomorrow is the launch of a new board game. This is Parachute Panda. Let me make sure that the reflection is okay. Parachute Panda. So this is a Redshift game under the new Catalyst Board Games division. I'm actually a super big fan of this game. I got to play it at Gen Con. I really like the story premise around this, and a lot of the Redshift games are delightfully like cute but dark. So in this case, you and your friends are pandas that were tricked into skydiving over an alligator pit. And so, since the alligators are all hungry, the goal of the game is to make sure that you are the last one to land so that the alligators get full on all of your friends before you hit the ground. For the kids. So, so please check out Parachute Panda. It's retail at $24.99. Super fun, cute game. A lot of PvP action there, and it's adorable. All right, checking back on screens. Excellent. All right, Bryn, you ready to talk about you?
I am, but if I can real quick comment on Parachute Panda as
Yes,
well.
please, please.
Um, I also love that game. It is unbelievably entertaining. For anyone who's played Get Bit, the little like shark game where you're like trying to stay not at the end. It's basically an inverted shark game where you're trying to like constantly stay up instead of going down. It's super funny, but also means a lot because one of the game designers was Connor, who of course just passed
Oh,
away. Yes. Yeah, so this is obviously a very big deal for us and for the company. Very excited to see this get out, especially for those who don't know Connor Coleman, the Lauren Coleman's son just passed away in a hiking accident a couple weeks ago. And so very excited to finally see this game get out there now. And will be a good memento to him.
Oh, I'll make sure that tomorrow I update the description from the episode to include the link so that you guys can find it easily in the online store. You can go to store.catalystgamelabs.com. And if you hit the search button and just hit enter, it'll show you all the newest releases first. So you'll be able to see it as soon as it drops. Thanks, Bryn.
Not to down on that. I promise, guys, it's a really fun, entertaining game, but it also just means a lot to Catalyst to see it finally come out.
It does, definitely. And we are going to be showing this off at all of our trade shows, and it will be at the conventions this year as well. So anywhere the demo team is going to be playing board games, you'll be able to demo it, and you'll be able to pick it up as well. All right, Bryn, enough stalling.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I'd like to
S-
officially note that Ren just referred to talking to basically my passed away brother as stalling. That is officially
Aw,
what just happened. That's technically what just.
aw,
It doesn't mean it was
aw.
wrong, but it does just occur.
Oh,
Anyways,
Bryn,
please
I adore you.
let us move on.
All right,
Thank you.
so Um, Leviathans. Let's talk about the Kickstarter. The last time we got an update from you on screen was PAX Unplugged, right?
On screen it was PAX Unplugged. We obviously did an update about a month ago now that had a lot of the information from PAX Unplugged, but last time I was on screen about this was PAX Unplugged, yes. With the gentleman that was one of the streamers that did stuff. I don't remember his name, but he was a lot of fun.
Uh oh, KP. KP
Yes,
from
KP, yes.
yeah, KP is a
Yes.
photographer in the gaming industry and space. He's on a couple of shows. He's actually going to be on the new Shadowrun show that's on Six Sides of Gaming
Oh,
that will be
awesome.
starting up in March. So yeah, he plays a troll Street Sam. Um
But anyways, yeah,
so
that was the last time I talked about it on screen.
Awesome. So what news do we have? I rewatched the PAX Unplugged interview. Um and I kind of took notes and I summarized last week uh where things were at back in PAX Land, which was beginning of December. So where are things now in terms of the Kickstarter? Are things printing? Are things shipping into distro? Where are we?
Things are in the process of printing. The from especially last time there was the issue with the miniature STLs. At some point, I will once it's all settled away and we're closer to it, I'll have to show you all guys the difference between some of the ships, um, and the issues we had with the STLs and their look versus what we actually wanted. There was a reason that these delays occurred because they were quite frankly pretty ugly ships when they came out in miniature form. Um, and then there was various reasons for that, but it has those have all been fixed and changed. They look so good. So excited to see them at Adepticon. I will be showing off most of those changed ones, and really like a good like almost half of the ships will be at Adepticon to look and show off. So definitely look forward to that. But yes, we are very much in the process of getting this all out there. I'm actually right now I have all of the final chip guard proofs to make sure they're all perfectly fine before they also begin printing alongside the boxes. On my computer screen, if I share it, you would see like 30, 40 different files of all of the different box arts that have all just been finished up. They have some last notes. Everything is finishing up here. I know it's been a little bit here. I understand, believe me, but it is all going off to print. We're very excited. It is coming out this year.
Awesome. So we are right now looking at today is February 20th. And when we talked at PAX, you had mentioned that you were hoping that we'd begin fulfillment between Q1 and Q2. How is that looking at this point?
I would assume end of Q2, Q3 at this point. Um, and most of that again was just the STL fixes just took longer than we're hoping for, alongside a couple other things. Um, various things go. Obviously, we lost a couple weeks there when dealing with the funeral stuff, and so things have come up. But again, it's coming out this year. I sincerely hope it'll be available by Gen Con. If nothing else, all of the products will be available to look at Gen Con because it should all be printed by then, even if it has not gotten to everyone's houses yet. But that's roughly what we're looking at.
Okay. All right. So, and you said that let me make sure I understand. So, with the issues that we had with the STLs, some of things are already printing, but the rest of it is getting sent to print. Here, you said it's on your computer to review.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Great. Um, Now, one of the questions, for those who don't know, I own my own company and we help with management of Kickstarters and stuff like that. And so we've come in to help with communication for Leviathans. And so one of the things that we've noticed is a common question that I want to make sure gets addressed is how's it going with the tabletop simulator?
So it was going to be so perfect today. Um, the full story of it is that there were miscommunications and it was done with an outside company. Glad that you got the thing all excited to hear the story. Um, Miscommunications, but today I was supposed to meet at 10 a.m. with the person doing it, and he was going to show off all the stuff to me, and we go over some last points, and it's supposed to be ready to have functionality handed over to everybody. It was going to be great. Then his day got super busy, and I'm meeting with him tomorrow. So I've been told it's like basically done, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
And then you have to do all your kibitzing,
So,
right? Like for
oh yeah, I mean, of course,
yeah.
100%. But yes, it is supposed. I'm seeing it tomorrow. It's supposed to be 95% functionality of the base stuff. And then that, again, the moment I see that, and we'll go through what I assume will be one or last two note changes, then it'll all head out there. I'm disappointed in myself that it's taken this long, but it is supposed to be done. I just haven't actually seen it yet in its finished state.
Awesome. All right. So very, very, very soon, since you're having meetings this week about it.
Literally tomorrow morning.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Um, then I need to remind myself of the next question I had. What are the plans? Do you have any plans around the larger release of Leviathan? So, let's say we make it to Gen Con, fulfillment happens. Um, where's it going to be available to buy? Where are we showing it off? What cool events do you have planned for it?
Oh yeah, there's a part of answers there. I mean, obviously, it will go through our standard distribution services. Um, it'll go through Alliance and ACD and blah blah blah. Any convention that Catalyst is at, just as it has been so far. Oh, excuse me. Um, Leviathans will be there alongside everything else. At Gen Con, Rem and I were literally just talking before this meeting about the various events on a bigger scale that will be going on between various, how to play the game events, some grinder-like events, if you guys know what that is from BattleTech, so very free-for-all things, and then some very narrative-driven stories based off of the actual fluff and universe things all there, and there will be similar things going on. We've discussed more specific ideas. Rem and I specifically have been talking about there has been, not to go into too much details, but there's been a request by, and I'm sure it's been in the comments, so many of you have already heard it, by a group has a United States ship that they want to do an event on. We're looking at that. We have not settled on that, but that type of stuff is what we're looking at the moment.
Yeah. So doing, a game filmed on board that can be released to the public, things like that, so that we can really get some hype and promote it.
Yeah.
So we're looking at it. Nothing's been finalized, but we are definitely looking into doing something exciting and big for Leviathans. So, Bryn, you just gave me a present when I saw you in Seattle last week. I had that brain moment where I was like, was that 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, yesterday? I don't even remember.
I
Um,
think like for 3 days.
so you gave me a present. Now is this the old or the new box?
That is the new box, yeah, and that has been showed off on various conventions. We've had images of it before. That is the new box. Not all the materials are in there yet. Really, it's just got the ships in there as Rem is taking that to a show. And it's got, again, it'll have, you open it up, it's got bubble wrap because it does not have the train anything. And it's got the 2 cruisers and the 2 destroyers that are in the box set. And mostly the paint job. I think one of the destroyers actually has an older paint job we tried out and we're not a fan of.
I'll find everything as I dig it out here. There's also these tiles. Are these tiles that are going to be used in the?
Yeah, so that's one of the things. It's always been a comment amongst the games, especially at the Tesla coils. No one ever remembered to keep track of it or write it down on their sheet. So we actually spent the time to print out Tesla coil tiles for everybody. It has made, at least for our games, a lot easier to finally remember that you've taken that damage because it's universally forgotten. There's the new torpedo counters. That's an older set there. Um, that moves over to the new torpedo system. It's got a lot of those things we're showing off. Yeah, the fancy new defensive screening.
I love unboxing things. It helps me learn about what these are. We just fell. Because I haven't gotten to see a lot of this or dive in too much to the Kickstarter myself. So it's really neat to see. These are the bases. Oh, haha.
That's an old base. Yeah,
So there's gonna be new bases.
yeah, new bases. I've shared some of that before, and I'll actually in the next week or so here when they're all of the looks of them are 100% finalized. We'll be able to show that off.
All right, here's the first one. Ready? It's gonna sail into view here.
Yep, so there's the destroyer that actually has the paint job we're not using, which is the far more blue ship. It was one of the things we were trying out because um, in the old version of the game, um, very much real world naval fleets all looked roughly similar except for their flags. And while that's all fine and dandy, it meant that every time we taught people the game, there are differences, but people had a hard time noticing them. So each faction has their own paint scheme now. With the French one, we're trying a really hard blue on that. We weren't a huge fan of it, which is why the other one that you'll see in a sec has a lighter blue going on.
And that's is that oop, there I am.
There you go. Yep. And there's the German destroyer. That is the ship that I believe during the Kickstarter people were freaking out because it went missing and went on milk carton boxes. I don't even remember now what
It went
happened to it.
missing.
Yeah, it was at the convention, and we were slowly handing out some pieces to different groups to look at and play test. And one of the destroyers went missing when we launched the Kickstarter. And I feel like I had that information, but it's gone from me now.
Okay. Now I want
But
to
the
hold up
community, was having fun with it.
the German destroyer. I want to hold up in comparison to this next one. So there's a Tonko boy.
Yep. So there's the French cruiser. That's the middle size ship roughly, and there's the proper paint scheme that it will be using. Um, and for those of you who don't know, all of Leviathans will be coming pre-painted, but very much designed that if you want to paint over it, doesn't mean you do. It'll be easy to do so.
Awesome. As my earbud falls off there.
Does do that.
And
And there is the German cruiser as well. All 4 of those guys are the ones that come in the box. That is also its paint scheme.
really nice detail on the paint. Cool. Awesome. So that's all stuff that we're showing off here coming up at Gamma Expo for the retailers to get excited about. Now, what in addition to this is going to be at Adepticon?
So Adepticon will have a bunch of finished ship cards, and again, like at least 15 ships painted will be there to look at. And it'll have at least one of each faction. So all um, 8 factions will have a ship there to look at, alongside some of the box ideas that you'll be able to see.
Cool. All right.
Ideas, that's box.
Awesome. So there'll be, and you said that Adepticon is going to have about half of what's totally available from the Kickstarter, right?
The kits, yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. Um, Anything else that you want to share about Leviathans in terms of an update? I'm sure we're going to get tons of questions in the Q&A section next, but anything else you want to add?
I don't think of anything that they're not going to want to go over at the end of the day. So if if nothing else, we might as well just get into that.
All right, let's do it. Guys, I learned last week I wasn't sure how many questions we were going to get. We got a lot. So we're going to go ahead and transition the rest of the show to Q&A. Um, I'll throw you, Bryn, any of the Leviathans questions. I'm happy to answer anything non-Leviathans that I know the answers to. But
I
yeah.
want to see you come up with the answers for Leviathans as well.
Listen,
More
the last time
entertaining.
this happened, Lauren made me say all the faction names of the BattleTech houses on the hats, and I butchered those. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's like three that you can guess, and everything else you're out of luck.
yeah, yeah. Um, all right, so let's see here. First question. Okay, any update on the tabletop simulator? We got that one done. How about any update on the rule book?
So that is again, it is basically done. It is going through some last edits. Um, and a story for a lot of these things. I've talked a little bit about it. Um, Catalyst, 100%, has always been committed to Leviathans, has always wanted to bring her back, but there was a misunderstanding on the company of how much bandwidth it had available at any given moment. So I started with an initial graphic designer, and that graphic designer got really busy with other projects. And so I went to a different graphic designer, and that designer got really busy with other projects. And I like 5 times we went through various people, and each one of them, because BattleTech is a beast who lets the whole company do what it does, that happened. Um, and so I have them now. I've been promised they're mine, and that's being wrapped up right now. But yes, it is the moment I have it, I will 100% be sending it out. I promise. It has just been constantly stuck behind um, other things that make the company function.
Awesome. Okay. And what about the novels?
No, so that's actually a whole slew of answers there.
Oh boy.
Um, we some of them have come out, and if yeah, I think we released a couple of them. Bill Keith, I know, is right now working on his full set. He is a busy author, um, but I know right now that he's working on them. I have read parts of his first novel for the Bill Keith trilogy. He's fantastic, and I love working with him on all that. As for some of the other ones, it is dependent. I know Stackpole, I can't even remember if we announced, but Stackpole was doing one of the novellas. And he, I think, is mostly finished and is going through John Helfer's, our fiction line developer's final pass. Then there was one last story. So then Mike Ritchie, who's actually our board game director, also does some writing. And he has his final pass, but both of those are supposed to be out in like the next month. They're supposed
Ooh,
to be
cool.
done.
Okay.
Um,
And I'm sure
leaving
Tyler will be
just
pushing
one.
on those too.
Yes, yes. No,
It's our job
I
to
will be picking
harass you
them
guys.
again. Yeah, yeah, and we deserve to be harassed, so it's fine. And then the
Awesome.
last story is Michael Ciravella's, which means that 3 mics will be telling stories here, which is just we have too many mics in this company. It's ridiculous. And his just got caught behind the standard BattleTech is BattleTech, and so they got their thing first. We've already got the story all outlined for him and everything. He just has not gotten time to get through it because of that.
Cool. Awesome.
I think that's all of the fiction.
Great. Thank you. All right. Question from Knight of Rome. Are we still able to get address changes for the Mercenaries Kickstarter, and how do we do so? Will there be final address check before things ship like in the last Kickstarter? Yes. So when fairly soon, I would guess. As we get closer to fulfillment, we will reopen the Kickstarter not for items, but just for addresses so that you can make any changes or lock them in. But if you're super worried about missing it or something like that, you can also send a message to Catalyst in the Kickstarter, and Tyler watches all of those. So you can request an address change there. And to do that, you click in the Kickstarter, you click on Catalyst Game Labs, and then it will say contact, and that's how you send us a message. Update on demo team applications. My recommendation, because we are in the middle of a transition period, if you are waiting on a application approval, I know some people did get approved recently. So it's possible that just somewhere it might have gotten stuck between the cracks. Send an email to demoteam@catalystgamelabs.com, and they're monitoring that over there, and we'll be able to check the status of that for you. Uh, Here's one for you, Bryn. Character artwork and admiral level ship cards.
Yeah. So the admiral level ship cards, the Sky Admiral, I know that I brought someone in to help out with that since there was a lot going on. And he's gotten through. He should have. If you have not been contacted by him, uh, please reach out again. But he had access to everyone at the Sky Admiral, and he's emailed people for those ship cards. The actual orthographic part is being worked on behind the scenes again because it's being shipped out separately. It will be happening and finished a little bit behind the rest of it because it doesn't need to go through China production. As through the character art, that all again, I believe the last update had you email him about that information. We are talking right now. Unfortunately, that update went out right as everything was going down in the company with Connor. And now again, we have a meeting tomorrow where we are going to go through and get that all finished up.
Cool. Okay, great. And you said that they can find the email address to send it to in the updates on Kickstarter, the most recent update.
The most recent update happened.
Cool. Awesome. All right. I see Ray is in the chat. Hi, Ray. Ray is the line developer for BattleTech. And he responded to Mad Cat. No news since last week's news of fulfilling is on track for June at this point. So if you want more details, you can watch last week's episode. We talked a whole lot more about BattleTech.
Oh,
Um,
this is my meeting. You don't get to come in here. This is my turn.
you know that anytime we have a meeting that's not about BattleTech has to be mentioned at least
Oh
once.
my gosh, yes. It's literally habitual.
It cannot be avoided. Um, Ed asks,
Of a $7 million Kickstarter, whatever.
I mean, Ed asked, how is Den of Wolves and other remaining Clan Invasion Kickstarter rewards coming? So, Tyler's gonna kill me, for saying this early, but that's okay. So my company just came in to do communications for Leviathans. We're going to do the same thing for Clan Invasion. So my team right now, Tyler is in charge of all the Catalyst Kickstarters. So he is kind of doing a review to understand like what is still outstanding from Clan Invasion. Um, and then I will say that the custom characters is a big twisty mess to untie. So like we're actually hiring a data analyst to try to like it's a nightmare. But it is being worked on, and there should be a backer update coming later this week, if not very early next week. Introducing Tyler and starting to get through all of the questions around Clan Invasion.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't been in all four, but most of you here I imagine have, Catalyst has acknowledged that the canon character is probably one of the largest mistakes the company's ever made because in everyone's head it was going to be like 100 people and super easy to get through, and then it wasn't that, and so that's just been really difficult.
Yeah, like we're in the thousands. And I know like 400 have actually been completed. But I mean, there's just so much. And then they asked for way too much information about characters and stuff like that too. So like to build that all in takes so much time. So we're sifting through what's there to see what can be done with it. In terms of all the different lists that people had. Um, and then we'll be communicating what we're able to do with that shortly. All right. What else do I got? Shock is great sending me all these questions.
It's
Let's
great.
see. Did you get the above questions or should we restate? Restate them just for shock. Let's see. Audio.
I did join the
Uh,
Discord, by the way. I'm now in the Discord.
Yay!
Did it.
You should
I have like
you
4 other Discords in here that are all named Catalyst. It's uh, a lot, and I need to leave some of them.
we'll have to after the show. I'll have to tell them which username is yours so you can get escalated to the catalyst role. Um,
Very
so
nice.
audiobooks. At Andrew says at PAX, y'all said that we would be getting a BattleTech audiobook every month this year. Ray, I believe, was trying to respond to that as well. It is being worked on. I know, I know more about the Shadowrun audiobook process because I'm involved in it than the BattleTech one. But I know, so some of it, just for a peek behind the curtains here, um, we have a plan for what book is going to release what month. We submit that to Amazon and to upload for Audible. Sometimes they approve it right away. Sometimes they approve it after several weeks. And sometimes they take several weeks and then tell us, hey, change something. Um, so, like the most recent one we got, fun story, was that at the end of the book, you have to have the last chapter and then you have to have the credits. And at the end of the last chapter, the voice actor said the end, and they wanted the end at the beginning of the credits chapter. So we had to go change that and then re-upload and start that whole process again. So sometimes it gets behind, and there's not a whole lot we can do about that. Um, but it is on its way. What else we got? Uh, from Jason Mallory. Bryn, maybe you've heard more about this than I have. If not, I have a blanket answer. But on the board game side of the business, are there any plans to bring back Shadowrun Crossfire?
I have been in almost every one of the getting together interactions amongst the board game side of things. It hasn't been brought up at all. That doesn't mean it won't ever happen, but I'm 95% confident in stating that there is no current plan to do that.
That's pretty much what I was going to say. I know there is so much coming this year
Oh
alone
yes.
in board games, that the plate is full.
Yeah. Like I would
So
even comment, but I don't even remember which things we've announced and which we haven't. So I have to like, it's a lot. Like,
yeah, I talked about the ones we could announce last week, so you can tune into that if you want the full list. But it doesn't mean that it won't. Um, just not right now.
yeah, exactly.
Let's see. From Dana, when should we expect the Mercenaries Handbook? Um, I didn't see it on the 2024 upcoming, so 2025. Mercenaries Handbook, is that different than what comes in the Kickstarter? I might let Ray in chat answer that one. If
I'm
he
pretty sure it's
doesn't,
different, but Ray would be the right for that.
yeah, if he doesn't, then I can get that answer as homework for next episode. Um, but hopefully he will respond. All right, what else do we have? Here's one for Brand about Leviathans. Designated DM asks, is the initial factions for Leviathans only European, or will the US fleet be available?
For the initial Kickstarter, yes, it was all European focused. It was actually a conversation we had a long time about of which ones we'd pick because we knew that a Kickstarter of 8 full factions at the start was really more than we wanted to do. And we've already had issues at the size we have. Um, And so that was always unfeasible. Which ones do you pick? And ultimately, it's impossible to ignore that in the Great War in World War One, it is mostly centered around European conflict. Now, there is the cruiser for Japan and America that come out in this set that you can't get. You can get multiple of. You can buy four and have a fleet, but they will not have a full set. Once all the Kickstarter stuff is done, we are 100% committed. Lauren has already said that we're good to go with at least releasing faction boxes if nothing else happens, or the other three factions that were not released a part of this. We plan to do more, but at the minimum, we've promised that all of the faction boxes will come out.
Awesome. And then another Leviathans
Mhm.
question from Storm Eagle. I'll ask this every opportunity, but what's the new lore of Australia? Are they still independent, or have they been retconned to being back with the British?
Give me a sec. I have to. I've wrote it down, but I've seen it legitimately both ways. In fact, let me go verify before I say something that I'm gonna regret. Make sure I have it right. One moment. You want to look at something else real quick because it's gonna take me a sec.
I do see there's another question that would be great for Ray. What rules besides vehicle combat is being included in Mercenaries? I'll have to. I'm getting fed the questions, so I can't see if there's answers happening along the way. But I've seen Ray popping up in chat in the screenshots. So Ray can either handle that one, or again, if he can't, then or isn't here anymore, then I can dig into that for next week. Did I buy you enough time?
Oh, I'm looking. I found the section. I
Let
just
me
have
say that
to
real slow.
verify the words. Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, Jeremy S. asked, a few months back, it was stated that backers who wanted PDF versions of the audiobooks could ask for them. I have emailed, but I have not heard hide nor hair of them. We haven't distributed audio yet. Um, so when they get distributed, we'll distribute the PDFs with those for those backers that want them. I have a nice audiobook folder in my email address where people have asked, and so as soon as we're ready to fulfill those, I'll dig those up again and make sure that they get done.
Got it.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it is mostly the same. So they are not fully independent, but there are very high tensions, and we are very likely to play with that concept. But it will happen later, and not it is not at the start of the Great War, if it does officially occur.
Stephen Strobel has a question for you. What part of bringing us Leviathans has been the most challenging or the most intense for you?
That is a great question. I think objectively, it for me has really just been um the scope of the project as a whole is maybe as lame as an answer as that is. There's just a lot of pieces, and trying to force, as I was mentioning earlier, the Catalyst has all the tools to do this because it is, much of the same stuff that BattleTech is, but getting the resources needed to get these things done when Catalyst has so many things it's trying to do, which are all awesome, um, but pulls at all those resources far beyond what they're what they have available to themselves, and that has been very frustrating and hard. And sometimes it makes me be a little defeatist, where I pinged the person twice and they were delayed, and so I wait a month longer than I should to re-verify with them again, which does cause things to go slower. That that cycle has been the hardest process for me, because it's an odd combination of I'm not doing everything I should because everything has been so hard to do.
That's fair. It's a very honest answer. Yeah, it definitely seems like because we've got BattleTech pretty much lined up and doing and operating to efficiency or as much as we can, that why would Leviathans be any different? Um, but it's a different
And again,
process.
like it's
Go ahead.
it's just no, it is it feels so similar, and in most ways it is, but it's the same people outside of myself, and even I get dragged in plenty of times to have to do BattleTech stuff. I'm going to all the conventions. Um, I'm on live streams playing BattleTech games all the time, and most of the events like the Adepticon, all of the Adepticon, the KrenskyCon games, all of those I created for them, and that takes time. Um, and all of that has to be done. And again, BattleTech is 100% the fueling force of Catalyst. It allows everything right now to happen. It allows all of these lines, allows the board game line to succeed. It has allowed Leviathans to be here, and I'm very grateful for that. But it has been a hard juggling act for both myself and Catalyst to do both things.
Sure. Sure. Uh, from Dana, I skipped this one earlier. My eyeballs went over it. Um,
Yep,
official Leviathan miniature record sheets for BattleTech win.
we've talked about it. I have no doubt in my mind the answer is a matter of when and not if, but I can't answer any clearer than that. I wouldn't be surprised if outside of my control, Randall just makes a April Fool's sheet in the next couple of years, but I can't state that either way. I mean, it was 5, 7 years ago that we
I'm
made
just
the.
I'm just saying, April Fools is a month and 10 days away.
I think that's hilarious, but if I was caught doing that instead of finishing this game, I'd be upset. Lauren would be upset, and you all would be upset.
It's true. It's
Um,
very true.
it needs to be done. It desperately needs to be done. I'm currently house sitting for Lauren because they're gone. And I just coming off a cold, and I've still got these things here because as much as all of you, I promise I more want this out. But
Awesome.
yes, again, going back around, I really do expect that at some time to happen, and it'll probably just be Randall got bored one day and decides to do it.
Okay, fair. From Night Moss, will there be another Kickstarter for other factions, pirates or mercenaries and the like for Leviathans?
So that is a soft yes. Um, Part of it is that we do want to wait and see it actually get into retail and see the retail sales past just the Kickstarter. Um, to decide whether or not, is this just a game that was this awesome, exciting thing? We get all the stuff out, and is that it? Or is this a game that has full legs, is going to be another line besides the others? And that'll decide how we want to be doing production moving forward from there.
Okay. And so I think this kind of a follow-up question is future expansion plans for aircraft carriers or auxiliary ships, etc. So same kind of thing.
Yeah, the answer is absolutely want to. Just am not committing to anything yet
Cool. Okay.
outside of the faction pack for the other three main factions. Those will occur.
Awesome. From Michael, will there be any international friendly shipping from the official CGL store in the future? Currently, it only has one really expensive option for Europe shipping. We talked about this a little bit last week. I'll touch on it again. We have a new salesperson that is looking at distribution options for us in Europe, in Canada, in Australia, just around the world. He's looking into it and he's very experienced with this. So it's being worked on, like better alternatives um for our international fans. It's coming. It's just slow to happen. All of this is very slow to put together and get all the paperwork in and then approved and everything that comes with that. So it is being worked on. I just don't know when it will be ready. Um, Ed says, Bryn, you're doing a fine job. Keep kicking butt. We'll get it when we get it. The nature of Kickstarters.
You appreciate that. Means a lot.
Awesome. From Jason, are there any plans to recreate new Shadowrun source books on the various parts of the world, akin to the Shadows of series and third, or the Sixth World Almanac? Um, that is a great question. I don't have that information offhand. I know we just had a conversation about Sixth World Almanac and how fun that was. But I don't know about where those plans are in the series or if they are in the plans. Um, but that is something that I can dig in for, or even since I have a new guest every week when I do have a Shadowrun person on, that'd be a great question for them. Let's see. I'm scrolling now. Poor Shock got caught up with work, so I'm trying to scroll through for questions.
How
Any
dare
update?
you have a
Any update on aircraft carriers or models for airplanes?
But that's similar again. Um, the answer is 100% want to do it, just not committing to it at this moment.
Awesome. Let's see. How fun was it to make the campaign boxes from Ganza Gaming?
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed the process. I think we've talked about it at some point in the past. But the basis comes from if anyone's ever played the Star Wars Armada campaign system.
Mhm.
Um, which is a fantastic campaign system and obviously has a lot of similarities because it's big ships in battle. Um, ours are a little more, not super more crunchy, but a little more gamey because you can kind of go wherever you want in the galaxy because you're spaceships and it's Star Wars. Whereas, there are certain lines of attack you're supposed to follow. But it was both fun creating them and creating them differently so that the Switzerland game is far more closed in. The mountain passes are a large part of the dynamic of it all, whereas the Scandinavian, your battles can take place a lot over stopping supply lines and really centered around the three big cities in the area. Oslo, Stockholm, and Helsinki, I think, were the three shows that really kind of center the map around. Um, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Uh, it moved. Bryn, when you say U.S., Japan, and Austrian faction packs, do you mean fleet boxes?
Yeah, I apologize if I changed that word there. We actually, the words we were going to use for that box was a debate Randall and Lauren and I went around for hours at one point, whether or not they'd be faction packs, elite packs, whether or not they'd have specific names so that they would be, this is the Pacific Fleet and blah, blah, blah. Um, and so sometimes like I get mixed up with them, which one we actually stuck with because we went around so long on them. I don't even
Cool.
remember which one I was trying to go for either. I
An
think I
opinion
won, but
once.
I really don't. Yeah. Somebody
um,
won. I think it was me, but that might just be wishful thinking.
Lorcan Nagel, I believe, is one of our freelancers. I missed all the fiction updates earlier. Is Mike Ritchie still writing a Lev's novel about Ireland? And do you need an already NDA'd Irish person to do a read beforehand? You could reach out to John. You know John. Bryn, do you know if
Um,
that's what Mike's working on?
I, just to be clear, it is a short story or a novella. I don't remember where the cutoff is on the story. Um, but yes, he has a story that has Irish characters in it. Um, I'm sure Mike would be interested, but that's not really my purview. That again, that would go through John and that type of stuff. If that was anyways an actual serious question, or I'm actually not entirely sure, but either way, Dr. John, because I like bugging him.
Yes, please always bug John. Also, like I know for the Shadowrun stuff, I've been pushy for sensitivity reading. If there's something that we're writing about in a culture we don't know much about, please have someone look at it. So please reach out. Um, let's see. Will more BattleTech novels reach print on demand on Amazon? I'm almost two-thirds through the Phoenix trilogy, and the next book, Wolfpack, only has the old ROC prints for purchase. I think more is being worked on. That is a John question. Um, you guys are helping me come up with my next lineup for guests here. I need to have John on. I need to have RJ on. I need to have all of the different line developers on so that that we can get you all the answers that your heart desires. Um, so I know there's lots more books being worked on, and that they are supposed to be print on demand. But uh, I will have to get you a better answer, more thorough answer through John. So I'll have to reach out on that one. Um, Obsidian asks, any spoilers for the two campaign scenarios?
Boy, so it's interesting. So the campaigns do have canonical endings. Um, but it is unlike BattleTech. It is not just you play these 10 scenarios just like it's stated, and has this fixed conclusion. It is very much a build your own story type of thing. And then in the books and in the fiction, it'll actually say what the official conclusion of that conflict was. But the thing will not always conclude with these ships at this spot on this day. It'll very much be how you guys play out the scenario.
Cool. When submitting Leviathan's fiction for a possible Leviathan's edition of Shrapnel, is there any way to bypass the 400 plus day queue of Battletech fiction submissions? Do you know
An
anything about,
interesting question.
right?
Uh,
Like,
I, we've talked about it because 100% we've talked about it. There's very little that we've never not talked about. Um, we at this moment, again, the focus is on getting out what we've already committed to through the Kickstarter. Um, Once all that's said and done, I know one of the first things has been a discussion about the shrapnel. Um, but there is at this process no setup to start queuing for that because we're really trying to just get done what we've already committed to.
so maybe hold on to it until you hear word. We would put it out on all socials. We'll
That
have
would
it
be
here.
that would be my best answer, yes.
Yeah, awesome. Question from Stephen for me. Have I played Leviathans? And then more thorough questions. I have not yet. So this is my first time holding the ships. But I am going to Gamma. Um, and I have demo agents that are coming with me, and we're actually doing a pre-demo night, so that we can all learn the different games. And so I'm planning on sitting down and playing Leviathans, and learning the ropes. So I'm pretty excited. I know it's also going to be at Adepticon, and I think since there's
Very
going to be
much so.
more, are you doing anything at KerenskyCon?
No. I
Oh,
mean, at the end of the day, Kerensky Con is the BattleTech convention.
yeah.
Um, it's it would we've talked about it as again everything, but it's always felt a little weird to us because it is people have paid a lot of money. If suddenly all the Krenskys came to us and emailed us saying, "Please have Leviathans there," of course we would, but we're not going to set up a schedule for a different game when they are here as part of the Mercenaries Kickstarter.
You heard that, Kappas that are watching this stream. Your call to action is
I'll
clear.
bring crap. I mean, there'll be the stuff will be at Adepticon the week later. I will have plenty of things. We can talk about it. But it's not going to go on the schedule unless there is some massive outcry to get it there.
Awesome. On a future Newsday Tuesday, can we have a segment of Run Playing Leviathans? It won't be here. So I'm actually one of my secret plans is I've put together a content committee of different streamers, people just interested in helping with streaming. And we're building a couple of different things. We're building like a sponsorship program for streamers, an affiliate partnership, policy and stuff like that for people to be able to take advantage of. And then also what we want to do with Catalyst's YouTube channels. So like I keep thinking like Miniatures Monday might be a thing. And that would be an opportunity for me to play, for any of us to play, or to have content creators come out and play with us. So that's there will be plenty of opportunity to play BattleTech, to play Leviathans, and on and on and on. We want to do all the things here on this channel, so lots of opportunity. Um, Dr. Dice Gaming, have we gotten into specifics about how planes work in Leviathans? I still have some concerns about how those will fit.
So we've had a stream that has included planes, I think it twice over the time. It was a very much a concern for us as well to make sure they work properly. And so, for instance, BattleTech over the years, and other games have struggled to have tanks and infantry and battle armor and not ever um, degrade how important battle mechs are. And sometimes that's failed. One of the more famous stories is the Clicks game for MechWarrior Dark Age, that the year that tanks came out, the tournament at Gen Con, every single table, there were no mechs there because they ended up making the tanks better. And that's obviously a problem because it's supposed to be this. And so the number one goal has always been Leviathans are the star of the show. Planes are there because they're cool. And, it's nice to have a different thing. They are small. The most amount of planes you can have on the board cost less in points than a single ship because they are extra. They're ancillary. They're neat little things. They are not the stars of the show.
Awesome.
And then obviously, when the rule book finally comes out, that details will all be in there. Blah, blah, blah.
Lorcan asked, tabletop sim Leviathan stream when it goes live. Pretty much absolutely. I think you can guarantee that. So Bryn, get ready. We're gonna be playing Leviathans on stream.
Oh, I'm sick that day. Unless it's with someone better at playing games, then I'm down for it. It's them. I don't want to.
Hey, listen, I just get really into the character of the ships, and if you make me mad, I will end you. That will be my one mission in the entire.
I'm in the one mission. I think the goal is to end the other team anyway. But
Well,
you know how these games work,
it's
right?
personal. It's personal.
It's personal now.
I did a BattleTech grinder, and every time someone I would hit me, I'd be like, "You are my new enemy." Um,
I love
all right.
BattleTech Grinder.
Thanks, Dana. Yeah, everyone, please like and subscribe for the algorithm. Would really appreciate that. Continuing to see the channel grow. Steven, question for Bryn. Which element of the Leviathans game could best help evolve the BattleTech franchise?
It's a fascinating question. Um, feels borderline dangerous of a question as I'm like going through the options there. Um, there is one of the one of the things that's interesting because BattleTech has this very complicated relationship with balancing and points because BattleTech is a beer and pretzels game. Um, that really you just kind of grab what you want most of the time. You balance against the other player and you throw it on the board. But especially for newer audiences, I interact more than most people in the company with our fans face to face because I go to a lot of conventions and a lot of new fans are always, how do I start a force and balance it against my friend? And the answer is always like, well, there's a BV system it's okay. It's not amazing. Whereas Leviathans from day one has a built-in point system. It's very easy. Here is a box and it is self-made with a couple options there. That all being said, BattleTech's Beer and Pretzels point system has served it very well as a very casual experience that people like to go to. I've had a lot of people from other games as well come and say, I like playing BattleTech because it's very chill and doesn't have a hardcore tournament scene. So it's more of a give and take on that one, but that's, one of the strong points I think of Leviathans is that it is a fundamentally more easy to balance game. And catered towards that than BattleTech would be my most politician answer.
Awesome. Well, guys, I lost track of time, so it is 4 after 5 here in Eastern Lands. So, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Bryn, for all of the answers. Um,
Thank you for having me.
really great to have an update. I'll probably bring you on at least once a quarter so that we can hear all things Leviathans and make sure that everyone's up to date.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday Newsday. Bye.